Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, more controversy involving State Department of Economic Security Director Tim Jeffries. And we'll discuss the possibility of Arizona politicians joining the Trump administration. Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Aaliyah Rao of the Arizona Republic, Howard Fisher of the Capitol Media Services, and Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capitol Times. State's Department of Economic Security Director Tim Jeffries is once again making headlines, Aaliyah, for all the wrong reasons. What's he doing now?
Again. So apparently this time he borrowed the governor's plane, flew down to southern Arizona, excuse me, and then took a handful of employees who agreed to sign their contracts and basically say we are now kind of like at-will employees. We don't have the protections anymore. And took them out for drinks to celebrate. Dinner, and apparently there were drinks at some point. So the allegation is that they were actually drinking during work hours, which would be against state law.
And then he bought the booze for him.
And then he bought the booze.
And explain this to me. First of all, why are you accepting a party from a guy who wants to come down and celebrate the fact that you are now capable of being fired at any time?
Well, this was a trade-off that the legislature offered. In other words, you could keep your merit protections if you were pre-existing employee, or if you want that 5% raise, and if you trust your management that they're not going to do something bad to you, you'll get the raise and you sign away your rights. There's a lot of sentiment among a lot of lawmakers and even among certain state employees who say, look, I've got people here who don't belong here. Let's have them be at-will employees. Now, celebrating that with alcohol, maybe a little over the edge there. And the problem is it's not just the one thing. I mean, this guy has a history of problems in terms of firing people, in terms of, the trip to Lourdes and telling people that I'll take your prayers with me. It just, almost everything he touches, does not go well.
Firing people, not just firing folks, firing a lot of folks. But isn't that what the governor kind of wants him to do?
Well, he wants to streamline government. Apparently, he did not want Director Jeffries to fire as many people as he has gotten rid of. I think it's about 475 people he's fired, which is just astonishing, unprecedented. And Governor Ducey actually stripped Jeffries of his power to fire employees. And at that point, it's kind of surprising even that he's still there, because you'd think in the private sector that if you had a division manager who you couldn't trust with a core job component such as that, the firing power, or you probably would keep him in that position. Jeffries is still there. Last time I talked to the governor, Jeffries still had his vote of support, which we'll see if that turns out to be kind of like when the team owner says the coach has my full support and then fires him 2 weeks later. But so far, he's still there, still has his support.
And the real key is, look, the idea of having at-will employees is you can take the people who are the gold bricks, the people who are nasty to other folks, and this is the Human Services Agency, and get rid of them. Many of the people who were fired were people who had just gotten raises, just gotten commendations, which makes you wonder how much of this is political. We know of at least one situation where an employee had the temerity to write to Tasha Peterson, who's the agency's publicist, and question whether something was political, and all of a sudden he finds himself out on his tush.
Speaking of questioning what's happening there at the department, the assistant director basically was the one who said, Tim Jeffries, the director, said, oh no, this was all after work hours. This was at 2:30 in the afternoon. Apparently it's a short work day that particular day. But it was all after work hours. The assistant director, Leah Landrum Taylor, who many around here know very well from her days at the legislature, said, oh no, that's not accurate.
Right, and Lee is very well respected, former state lawmaker. She was in it as a Democrat, but she's worked under Brewer. She's worked kind of with the Republicans. And yeah, she said she was there. Tasha was there. He made them all go with him for this event. She said she didn't drink, so she was sitting right there watching everybody and knew exactly what happened. She said she spoke to Tasha, and Tasha said she would reach out to the governor with the concerns. Leah has said she's not sure whether that happened, but Leah said she tried to talk to the governor herself and has not been able to get a meeting.
The real problem with Tim Jeffries is he's tone deaf. Prime example, when I went up to talk to him about this Lourdes trip, we're sitting in his office, and on his wall is a very large cross. Now, this is his office, but if you're a state employee and you're called up there for discipline or whatever, and you may not be of the faith, and you see that your boss has a large cross on the wall, it would make you wonder, what are the sensitivities? And his response was, "Whoa, I don't see anything wrong with it." The man is tone deaf.
Back to Leah Landrum Taylor, not on the same page, apparently, as Mr. Jeffries?
Sounds like it, and unfortunately for her, we've kind of seen what happens to folks over there who aren't on the same page. You mentioned how he mentioned the employee who was fired for just questioning whether something was overtly political that was being sent out. So obviously, a dissension is not a trait that is particularly valued under the Jeffries regime there.
So, Lee, is this much ado about not much in the grand scheme of things?
That's what Jeffrey says. He said, sensational journalism, you're just looking for something to write. But I think, like Howie said, it's this thing on top of all of these other things and this kind of trend that we're seeing, and the fact that we haven't seen much response from the governor on his hire.
And you have to kind of wonder if this has some people rethinking this whole personnel reform law that allowed all this to be possible. This is a major agenda item of Governor Brewer a few years ago. It passed, and for the few years after that, while she was still in office, you really didn't see any sort of spike in firings. And under Ducey, you've seen it kind of across the board, but in DES especially. So this kind of highlights how one person can really throw the system into chaos.
That's the key. You assume people are operating on good faith. You're at the Capital Times, you're an at-will employee. When I work for different publishers, I'm an at-will employee. But the assumption is that your boss is looking for the best interests of the agency as opposed to some petty political issue. And that's the problem with what's going on.
Beyond the petty political issue, though, I mean, he has been charged with streamlining the agency, and he's streamlining it down to bare bones, apparently.
Well, but streamlining means getting the right people in the right position, not getting rid of necessarily 400 people. Nobody ever said DES had 400 too many people. These positions are going to be replaced. If you want to say this function is no longer needed, that's one thing. But don't just tell me you're out of here.
Is he still in office, still holding this heading this agency a year from now, do you think?
That's a good question. Although, I'm surprised he's still heading it now.
Okay, that's an answer right there.
Remember, the governor's office once said that we love Tim Jeffries so much, if we could clone him and put him in every agency, we would. Now, that was a while ago. So
I was going to say, so no one could make any decision unilaterally without Department of Administration.
I think he's gone a year from now. I think that each time the governor is just, okay, let's let it settle down. I think it's at the point where he's on, what did they call it on Animal House, double secret probation?
Okay. All right. Jeremy, the Coyotes have announced this big grandiose plan where the Karsten Golf Course, nice golf course, by the way. It's a little hilly, not too many, anyway, where the Karsten Golf Course is in Tempe, they want to build a hockey arena. But they want you and I to help pay for it by way of a variety of measures that the legislature has to approve first, correct?
Right. And this is about $400 million, and about half would come from the team, but the other half would come from kind of a variant of what's known as tax increment financing. It's basically when you bond against, you issue bonds and you pay them back, you borrow them against future revenues that a development is expected to generate. Usually in most places it's property tax. That would never fly out here. So it's been proposed a number of times for sales tax. That's what we're looking for, this tax increment financing on sales tax. Now, unfortunately for the Coyotes, there's always been a lot of resistance to the legislature for this. I've seen year after year after year proposals like this get shot down. We've heard the new Speaker of the House, J.D. Mesnard, has thrown some water on this. The new Senate President, Steve Yarbrough, when I talked to him earlier in the year, he kind of poo-pooed it. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of support for this over there. So if they're counting on this TIF, this tax increment financing, to generate half of the money for this new stadium, they may be in for kind of a rude awakening.
And what's also fascinating is when they made this sort of pronouncement, I didn't see the ASU people there. You
didn't see the governor.
Didn't see the governor there. I'm saying that was the thing. And so, of course, now the mayor of Phoenix has sort of poo-pooed the whole thing, said, look, hey, you want something? We can do a shared facility downtown. The Suns want something, maybe we could come up with that. But I think you're right. And, the other piece that's on top of this is, aren't these people still trying to figure out how to pay off the whole Glendale thing?
Well, when you're borrowing against future revenue and the revenue you got now ain't so hot, that's a tough sell.
Right. But they also are bringing in ASU hockey. They're bringing in a lot of retail. And there's potentially some money in it for ASU. I mean, it's on ASU property. So under one state law, basically ASU makes money off of anybody that leases off their land. So it actually brings in more money for ASU on top of any regular revenue that would come in, which is a big appeal.
If that's in the formula, that helps the legislature say, hey, look, we're helping ASU.
Sure, and I'll be interested to see how much leverage ASU really wants to exert on this, because they need that arena. I believe their hockey team just went to Division I. They absolutely need this new arena to maintain that status. This is very important to them. Interestingly enough, we haven't really heard much from them, but they've got some clout to throw around to the legislature. We'll see how much and whether they're really willing to use it.
And real quickly, Howie, I know that the Coyotes want to break ground next year. That would make for a pretty fast track at the legislature. We're not even sure if this thing's on any kind of a track.
I think you've got a real problem. J.D. Mesnard and Steve Yarborough were out today at the Arizona Tax Research Association, and let's just say I didn't hear a lot of enthusiasm for this kind of thing.
Speaking of taxes, legislative session, we're still a couple months away here from the start, but I know you talked to the incoming leadership and the governor regarding, the governor has said he wants to cut income taxes to as close to zero as possible. What are you hearing from the Speaker of the House? What are you hearing from the incoming President of the Senate?
Well, J.D. Mesnard is a big fan of, if not a flat tax, a single rate tax.
Incoming
right now,
Speaker.
He's the incoming Speaker. Right now we have 5 categories starting about 2.5% going to 4.5%. He wants to collapse it down to a single rate, but with some credits perhaps for the folks in the bottom, so you don't end up with people who are paying the low rate and ending up with more money. His belief is you need to first do that before you even talk about reducing income taxes further or cutting income taxes or eliminating them. And so that's his focus. This is an uphill battle. He tried this back in 2013 and to take it down to 3 rates, and he couldn't get it out. Now, Steve Yarborough, who's the incoming Senate President, has a whole nother issue here. Steve Yarborough has been a big proponent of tax credits for certain things, income tax, dollar-for-dollar credits for charitable contributions and for what they call student tuition organizations, where you basically give money and then these people can spend their money on private and parochial schools for their kids. Guess who runs one of the biggest in the state? Steve Yarborough. No income tax, no tax credits, no tax credits, no organization for
Steve Yarborough. Yeah, okay. With that in mind, how does this all jibe with the governor's plans?
Well, it really doesn't. I mean, the guys you mentioned, the governor, this is one of the main platforms of his campaign is, we want to reduce the income tax to as close to zero as possible with the hopeful goal of getting rid of it entirely. This obviously does not really mesh well with Senator Yarborough's plans now. Fortunately for Senator Yarborough, anything the Governor Ducey wants to do to reduce income taxes is very unlikely. We have so little money, extra money to go around. I mean, income taxes, I believe, individual income taxes are about 46% of the state budget of the revenue we rely on. We're pretty cash strapped. I mean, we have been basically since the recession hit in 2008, 2009. Things haven't gotten much better. We have reduced taxes. I think we have $24 million in extra revenue next year with a lot of demands, with all-day K, with a bunch of other stuff. So I don't think this is something that Steve Yarborough is going to have to worry about much for the next few years.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to go into this session with a proposed cut like that. You have education is still sitting out there. We did Prop 123, but we're hearing the promises of 4, 5, 6, and nobody knows what that's going to be. But I mean, the consensus is that they need more money somehow, somewhere. You're going to have to reconfigure taxes in some way to deal with that. Whether you're bringing back new sales taxes, who knows? But that's got to be the top priority, I would think. So
will taxes be a major item in budget negotiations, or
yes.
It still will be major?
I think so, but I don't know if it's just going to be eliminate the taxes or not. I think there's too many other components that are coming in that we're going to have to see and how they all play out. I mean, do you do some sort of statewide property tax to deal with schools? Do you, like I said, extend the half-cent sales tax for education that's coming up due? There's a lot of tax questions right now.
And here's what's going to get interesting. Sometime between now and the beginning of the session, there's going to be a lawsuit over school finance. We just settled the lawsuit over maintenance and operation. There is a 1994 Supreme Court decision says that you have to fund the capital side. The state was going to assume all new construction and all repairs. Well, guess what? As the budget's been cut, they haven't. We're back to where we were in 1994. And at the moment that comes in, all bets are off, because then they have to figure out how do you ensure that schools get the money they need, whether with a statewide property tax or what they call a qualifying tax rate or what.
So bottom line, do tax cuts become as unlikely in the next session as tax increases?
There will be some tax cut. I mean, remember that another big part of Ducey's campaign pledge was he will reduce taxes every year, and he has done that. This first 2 sessions. Now, they have always been something very small, very minor, nothing that's going to shock anyone, but enough that Ducey can say, I have reduced taxes. And that's, 10 million, 15 million,
right.
20 million. And that's almost certainly what we're going to see this year. Maybe we see a real effort from J.D. Mesnar to try and flatten out that tax rate. It seems like he's kind of figured out some of the ways around some of the problems that sunk this a few years ago. But something will happen, but it'll probably be small, and we don't know what yet.
Howie, down in Tucson, it sounds like they are still destroying guns. And this is making at least one state lawmaker very, very cross.
This is an interesting question. Tucson's attitude is when a weapon is seized, you can do one of two things with it. You can sell them off and make a profit, or you can melt them down and make sure they're not used for anything else. Tucson has chosen the latter course. The legislature several years ago passed a bill that says you can't do that. You have to sell them off. Tucson basically told them what they could do with their legislation and has continued to do this, which resulted in the complaint by Representative Mark Fincham under a new law that allows lawmakers to complain to the Attorney General. Attorney General finally came back with an opinion that said, well, we think it's against the state law, but Tucson is a charter city. Tucson is entitled to do, like 18 charter cities, whatever they think is purely of local concern. Is destruction of guns purely local concern, or is that a statewide issue?
So if he says it may violate the law, is this just a chance to go ahead and get this in court and figure out, because we're constantly hearing about state lawmakers upset that cities, towns, whatever, are doing things without their approval or outside of state law that they have so decreed. Is it time to get this thing figured out?
I think it is. I mean, we're already dealing with the plastic bag issue. I mean, that's the same argument that some cities, as charter cities, have a right to decide what impacts their residents separate from state law. And this is the same thing, and it's not something that's been addressed by the courts, and at some point it's going to have to be. So I think this is headed to court.
I think, this I think is kind of the test case that both sides are really looking for. I mean, the gun stuff, that was very specifically cited by then Senate President Biggs when he introduced this law and it got passed as something that feels like cities are doing that would violate state law. I mean, a lot of cities would very much like to see this go to court and challenge. Probably most of them don't really want to be the test case. In Tucson, they've been butting heads with the legislature over regulation of firearms for years. I mean, think back, more than 10, 15, maybe even more years ago when they were fighting over can Tucson require background checks at gun shows if it's at the Civic Center because it's city property. So this has been years worth of fights. They're maybe culminating in some kind of lawsuit here.
Now here's where it gets real interesting. The penalty, if a court finds against a city, is it's state revenue sharing, hundreds of millions of dollars. But to fight it, you have to post a bond equivalent to what you would lose. And so the question for Tucson then becomes, assuming that Brnovich were to pursue this, are they willing to put up a bond for the lost revenues, or they say, oh, let's just withdraw, in which case they've been blackmailed into something.
So what do they do?
I think we're still waiting for Brnovich to actually do something more. He's of the position, he did the first opinion, but it's now up to him to decide, do I file in Superior Court? Do I instruct the state treasurer to withhold the money? So the ball's in his court.
All right, and again, if he does open this, the Supreme Court has to work on this quickly, correct? It goes straight there, and the idea is move fast. Correct?
Right. It's a lot of money at stake, and it's got to get addressed pretty quickly.
Right. I think even doesn't the law say that you got to make it a priority, the first priority of the Supreme Court?
Well, particularly if you've taken away 40% of a city's money and you're holding it.
All right, Jeremy. As far as the Trump administration, we're hearing that a whole sorts of folks here in Arizona could possibly have some kind of position in a Trump administration. Or not. What's going on? Let's start with Treasurer Jeff DeWitt. I mean, he's a big deal with the Trump campaign. He was here first. He delivers the state. Could he be Treasury Secretary?
I would sincerely doubt it. I mean, there's a difference between a big position and a minor position. I mean, we're seeing, President-elect Trump just starting to put names out there for some of these major positions. And these are huge names, people that we've known for years. People are huge on the national scene. Jeff DeWitt is not, Jeff DeWitt is known to people here in Arizona because he's state treasurer. He had a pretty prominent position with the Trump campaign down the stretch as COO. He was, the first
National COO.
National COO. I believe he was the first statewide elected official, I think, to endorse Trump last year. So, I'm sure he's probably got something coming to him. Now, is it going to be a major cabinet post, or is it going to be deputy undersecretary for whatever? Yeah. I think that is probably what's more likely.
And one of the clues there is state treasurer is an administrative position. I mean, you're responsible for a department that has certain guidelines by which you invest money. U.S. Treasurer is more policy making, and that's beyond what, I'm not saying that Jeff is unqualified, but that's a whole different thing. It's not like if you're qualified to be state treasurer, you're qualified to head the U.S. Treasury.
But he's going to go. I mean, he's already expressed the fact he doesn't want to run for re-election. He doesn't particularly like he hasn't been in the office for like weeks. I mean, he's not a big fan. He's going to go some way, shape, or form.
I think so. He said he wasn't going to run for re-election way before Trump stuff even happened. I think it really wasn't what he thought it might be, or, he's had a lot of frustration between him and Ducey. So yeah, I think he'll go. I don't know what he'll get, but I'm sure he'll get something.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, Jeremy, isn't it time for him just to put the feet up on the ottoman and take it easy for a while?
I mean, he's obviously he was a big supporter of Donald Trump, but he is 84 years old. He's out of a job now. I'm sure, I don't know if they want anything where he has to go through a confirmation hearing. I mean, that would probably get pretty brutal if the Democrats got a chance to question him. And once again, I mean, how much did he really do for Donald Trump? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you look at everywhere, every state, the whole campaign structure. I don't know that if he got something, it would be anything major. I think the only person in Arizona who has the potential to get something, a bit juicier is, Governor Brewer, who, major surrogate for Trump, on TV all the time for him down the home stretch throughout the campaign. Was a prominent figure before that. Now, where she ends up.
But that's the question.
And what would you want?
Yeah. Now, when I talked to her about it a week or two ago, she expressed an interest in finding a way to stay here in Arizona. She told me there's a lot of federal jobs in Arizona. Get something. She had an ambassadorship. I believe the way she put it was that sounds neat. I asked her if she'd be interested in going to Washington. She wouldn't foreclose the possibility, but her exact words, I think, were that is not a very happy place. So she did not sound so keen on that possibility.
And look, the fact is, she enjoys the public. She loved being a surrogate. You turn on CNN, Fox, whatever. There's Jan. And to be buried as a deputy undersecretary under something, I think.
But would that be the case? I mean, again, I'm just talking about what national pundits are throwing out. They're talking about her for Interior Secretary, for goodness sakes.
Well, given we've had people like Bruce Babbitt, who has an actual legitimate background in environmental issues. Obviously, Jan comes at it from a totally different perspective, which is, why is the federal government messing with our lands? Now, if that's in fact going to be the official position of the Trump administration, do we need interior? Do we need education? That's fine. You can certainly put somebody in there who will do that sort of bidding. Whether it's Jan, I'm a little hesitant to say.
Well, and she and Arpaio, I mean, their passionate topics are immigration. Obviously, that's going to be a huge issue for Trump. I would assume their position, should they get one, would be related to something, some sort of consultant, some sort of advisor on immigration issues, or some sort of connections with Mexico and the border.
How much of this is just simple courtesy? You were on my side, you helped me, you helped deliver Arizona. I'm going to throw your name out there, and I could give you anything, but I'm going to throw your name out there as someone we're talking to, just to give you a couple of headlines here.
Oh, of course, and that's, we see this every time a new president comes in. You have to reward your loyalists. Everyone does it. And maybe you offer them something that maybe they're not extremely interested about. Such as going to D.C. Going back to DeWitt, he's got 3 kids. Who knows if he actually wants to leave Arizona, go out there. Brewer obviously isn't too interested in that. So, but just floating someone's name, especially if they have maybe a political future they want to think about, which DeWitt, despite his decision not to run for re-election, maybe he does. Brewer and Arpaio, I think they're both done running for office. DeWitt, you could get his name out there. That could help out down the road.
And that's the key, offering them something. Even if, what did we see the line is, if you offer them the deputy undersecretary for asparagus, you've offered them something.
Right.
He's incredibly loyal to the people who were there from the beginning, like Jan, like Joe, maybe to a lesser extent, certainly like DeWitt. You at least offer them something, and then they can say, I was offered and I decided whatever. And that's the key. They'll be offered something.
All right, we are out of time. Didn't get a chance to talk about that new initiative for marijuana, medical marijuana. So the 2 years we got to go through all this again?
You bet we do.
All right.
Don't hold your breath.
Okay. I won't inhale either. Monday on Arizona Horizon, newly elected Maricopa County Recorder Adrian Fontes joins us in studio to talk about his plans for the office, and we'll hear about funding for environmental programs on tribal lands in the state. That's Monday at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, we'll see how a hockey arena becomes a STEM classroom for a day. Wednesday, Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton joins us in studio. Thursday, it's an Arizona Education Special. And Friday, the Journalist Roundtable is preempted for this year's Cronkite Award for Journalism ceremonies. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.